His radio voice and who he really is are a little bit at odds.
Now, back to Steiny and Guru on
Mary.
95.7 The Game.
Mary.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
That was my mom.
One pair
Mary
down,
Tilly.
one to go.
No.
I've been reaching out. I'm trying to get the old.
I don't think he's. This
Wait a
is when he
minute.
naps.
First off, I'm having the hardest time buying your
on.
age, even though I essentially knew it already. How old is your mom?
She's 87.
She's amazing.
She is
Good Lord.
phenomenal.
Yeah,
She's-
she's still
You guys
very
got
active.
some genes.
Yeah, there you
You
go.
got some
Italian,
genes.
and her
Shout out
mom,
Levi.
her mom lived till 96. So hopefully,
Yeah.
I'm looking to. I'm not quite like Rick Barry, whose goal is to fly fish
Come on, people.
at 100 years old.
Yeah.
That's
Dude,
what he
I
told
threw a
R.C.
little party
Davis.
today, though.
Seriously.
I threw my partner a little party.
Yeah.
I had Myers early, Banez, Mom.
Look at you reading from a script.
my pops
Guru's
Norm.
got his notes.
Wait, you had Bob Myers on?
Yeah, Myers.
Okay.
He called early.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys grilled him
He was
over
in
his
New York.
ouster.
Yeah, he's in New York. Yeah. getting ready for the
Was
season.
it? I mean, was it like a Jenny Finch interview? Nothing but softballs.
Exactly.
Okay.
I didn't even.
Well, Steiny turned
The
red.
hardest
It's hot
play-
in here. I
the
think
hardest-
you're embarrassed.
Somebody does you a solid. It's hard to turn around and be
Right.
like, all right,
And the
Exactly.
Higgin throws
dish on the
in.
locker room now.
So Myers,
My
let's talk
toughest
about
question
it.
was, hey, when you started ESPN?
Yeah.
You know what he said? I'm not
It
sure.
was probing.
And the
That's a
Higgin
probing
threw in
question.
Rod Carew, his favorite.
You had Rod Carew also.
I was listening when
Good
Rod.
for you,
yeah,
Steiny.
when Rod called in.
That's
That was-
awesome.
That was a man.
Hey, you guys
How
ever
old-
see a documentary called Man on
Oh,
Wire?
boy.
No.
Oh,
I've heard of it.
Think about
but
what it's about.
God.
it's
What?
one of the best
Man on a-
documentaries I've ever seen. It's about
Man on a
tight-
Wire.
It's about the guy who tightrope walked across the World Trade Centers in 1970s.
Is that one of the Walendas?
No, it's a different. It's somebody else, but good knowledge. And
Thank
it's
you.
just, it is unbelievable how they had to do it at night, and it was just and why-
Clandestine?
He never knew. Like the question, why do you do this? He never had an answer. Philippe. Anyway,
Philippe?
I was
Anyway.
watching 2 football games.
Anyway.
in the
I watched the
Giants.
Eagles.
Yeah. Did you just watch this
Yeah.
last night or something?
Yeah, I binge watched a couple of. I stayed up late last night.
After the double Monday night football
10 o'clock?
I
game?
had a little trouble with
One,
the
he
Bengals
says,
game.
Tibbs.
No, I heard you saying that.
Yeah, I had a little trouble.
So did they.
I don't.
Anyway,
4.
sorry.
Yeah.
Those offenses were broken.
Can we put the Pasoy on the table?
Oh, I'm glad you. Yeah.
This is in everything we've talked about.
Yeah, brought to you
This
by
was the
Atco
nugget by
Pusoy
Andrew
Control.
Baggerly.
Thank
that-
you.
I'm sorry. You can't. This has to end.
Hold
it.
on, let me save your career.
Okay.
It's a card game. For
Okay.
those of you who don't know what he just said, it's a card game that they play in the clubhouse with the San Francisco Giants.
4 games.
Well, and you can also
or during and after, maybe too.
It's okay to refer to the Orange is the New Black character who was unfortunately killed in the show Poussey. So these are all things that do not have to involve FCC violations.
I'm just over here. You keep doing whatever
this
you do.
is a
Of course.
bomb.
Yeah.
This is a
I agree.
bombshell.
I agree. And by the way, it's
So
not the
Kapler
game.
never went in. I was like, Lou Piniella, Jim Leland would have went in there. What
Sure.
the hell? And do some sit-ups. You ain't like you in top shape. I'm just talking about Jock and I. Come on, man. This is why Steiny admitted today. He goes, Goo, I didn't think they would fade like this. This is what the right stuff ain't going on.
Well, it helps. It helps us understand when it goes wrong, why you couldn't get it back. That's what it said to me. And for those, let's back up so people know what we're talking about. Logan Webb last night, and we'll play the sound. And I know you guys have too. Insinuates big changes need to happen for us to create a winning culture.
Big.
Now, that obviously, the immediate point and thought is at Gabe Kapler. And I do think it largely stays there. However, there's more to the story, and that's the Bagley article, which, as it goes, gets to a point where it talks about how Mike Yastrzemski, Wilmer Flores, and Tyro Estrada
Man,
have been
ballers.
among the players who have attempted to refocus this clubhouse because the thought is there's too many players who are just kind of okay with losses, and they start playing this card game. It name slaps Jock Peterson.
It really does.
Nobody else, but it absolutely points right at
His
Jock
second
Peterson
slap.
as somebody who would rather play that card game than study that night's pitcher, was the line. So is it on? And plenty of accountability to go around. Certainly, it's on players like that to have more of a competitive fire. And I think
where you're going.
When you watch Jock play, you see someone who looks like. I mean, it's very believable.
Yeah.
He looks like, I just come out here and whoops, I struck out. Okay,
dude, where's my car?
Right, but at the end, no matter what's going on with those players, it references that Gabe Kapler's style is to allow the players to police themselves. I also think that there's nothing wrong with that until you assess that it's not working. And then as the leader, it is on you to go in there and throw a chair.
Man. Cut
And
somebody out.
He never did it. And I think that's what Logan's getting at.
This happened in Philly.
Yeah.
He's a player's manager squared. Like, he never criticized anybody in Philadelphia, and they thought he didn't make the players accountable, and that's kind of what we're talking about here. What's going on in the clubhouse, apparently.
Also feels like he's neither, right? Like, you know what do you guys think about this? Do you think that, and no matter your industry, do you think you need to like your boss?
No.
You need to respect your boss.
I know that'll be the number one answer on the board.
You don't need to like your boss at all.
Well, it doesn't hurt, though, and usually respect and like are somewhere related. There are not a lot of people who are like, I respect the hell out of the person, but I also hate him. Yes, that can happen.
Sure.
The reason I ask is you just sort of insinuated Gabe is like a player's manager. Well, is he? I can't think of anyone on the face of the earth who's less one of the guys
man.
than Gabe Kapler.
That way, yeah.
He's not what, like, you can't, it's actually almost the problem with someone like, you look at someone like that and you're like, you can't be one of the guys.
The guys that not socially awkward, that's trying to be one of the guys, and it's going off bad to where it's like, dude, you're trying too hard.
I don't get that impression. I think he keeps all of it at arm's reach. I think it's all
this
in the other room,
man.
It's all in the other room, and they're figuring out the math.
That's kind of the way I think of Kapler. Like, at least I can speak a little bit to basketball. The locker room. Believe it or not, the coaches, they're not in the locker room that much.
Exactly.
They're really not. They have their own offices. They'll address the team before and after. And by the way, it's never as long as you think it is. But I do agree with that. I don't think I think part of Kapler's whole MO is I don't go into the clubhouse.
And
I don't mess with the players off the field.
And I think it works when you have a Buster Posey, and Mark was mentioning this earlier, when Buster is actually the guy in there who's leading and controlling things, but when he's not, things start to break apart, and now you've got some poker game being played before games, and you've got total anarchy. And I think about you, Steiny, and you played for a legend in college, Glenn Robinson, one of the few coaches to ever win 1,000 games. At whatever, Evan, that's mean-spirited. The man won 1,000 games. Did you always like him?
No.
But you always respected the man.
Absolutely.
And that's where
he put me in my place.
Yeah, he did. And I love these. And I love these D3 stories when you came in with a little too much bounce in your step as a freshman. You couldn't get the ball across half court.
I couldn't believe he actually held me accountable. I mean, who does that to a young adult?
Sure. It's a this is your life, but
nobody.
I think you look at, I mean, Shanahan, whatever. I don't know if everybody, quote unquote, likes him, but he has the respect of that locker room. And even if they don't, they have enough leaders in there to where nobody's going to step out.
I think they do, though. I actually think they do.
Fine,
but not in the way.
They don't have to, though.
Yeah,
is my point.
But not in the way that, like, there's that line you have to walk. You have to keep. When you're a leader, you have to keep it a little bit at arm's length, right? You can't just be one of the guys, but you'd like that sort of respect that also leads to personal relationships being on a high level. I think Kyle Shanahan, quite frankly, has it dialed. Like, I think he's got it perfect.
Brandon Ayuk on line one.
Yeah, if
anything was going on there.
He will hold you accountable. He is no nonsense, but he is straightforward. He will communicate with you. He'll wear Yeezys. He's got your back. Like, the guys loves
Lil Wayne.
Kyle.
Yeah,
they love him.
You know what I think? Like, the players on the Niners know Kyle is really good at
Really
what he
good.
does.
That's yeah.
I get the sense that the Giants play like Kapler will talk to a player or the players about their philosophy or whatever, what's going to happen tonight. I get the feeling like they roll their eyes at him when he leaves the room.
I'll say this because I was over there talking to him after the game every night when they were winning 107. And they all
No,
would
that
just
is
do
different.
it. No, come on. Yeah, I was like, my gosh, I'm like trying over here for a drip. They all were so bought in. It was almost as if, just like all of us, we're looking at it going, how is this team winning 107 games? But they bought in because they were winning 107 games. I can't tell you how many players said directly out loud, in Farhan we trust. In Farhan we trust. Like, look at this. Look at these results. This guy knows what he's doing. Well, now you've had 2 full seasons where, and now it sounds like Logan Webb, because
Wow.
I think they've lost that swagger. It doesn't look like it's working. So if it doesn't work, I think that's your Shanahan point. Those guys know Kyle is going to put them in the best position individually and team-wise. I don't think the Giants players think that anymore.
You three tell me if I'm off bases here and if this is a foul. The Baggerly piece, which I have not read in its entirety, but the most important part is 3 prominent players got together and noticed some guys were slacking, not taking it serious. But I would like to read or hear in that piece that they went to mom or dad, which is Gabe Kapler. If they couldn't get it rectified like a Buster Posey could, okay, we'll go to the sheriff, and the sheriff will police and get this fixed. And it sounds like what Kapler wasn't even an option. And I'm just saying, if that's true, then I have no respect because you're the manager in name. But if we can't come to you and get this fixed,
Right.
you're nothing but a puppet.
Think about this, though. And
Like, did that happen, Willard? Did they?
well, the players named were Yaz and
Estrada?
Tyro and Wilmer. And what
Yeah.
do we know about Tyro? He was the one who led a players-only meeting about a month ago. So I would imagine that in that players-only meeting, issues like playing Pusoy Dos in the locker room or in the clubhouse came up. And yet, whether
Yeah, whatever.
Jock blew it off or whether players blew it off, whatever happened because from the players-only meeting, which was in August, if I'm not mistaken, like early to mid-August, from then to now, things haven't gotten better. So whether or not Kapler should have come in and flipped the spread old school or, grabbed somebody by the scruff of the neck, it didn't happen, and now you find yourself on the outside looking in.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union.
I think 2 things here. One, we don't really know exactly to what level anyone ever did try to involve Cap. We do know I don't know how many people were paying attention over the weekend with all the football going on, but the reports out of Dodger Stadium where Logan Webb and Kapler went on a solo walk around the Dodger Stadium outfield for about 20 minutes. They're just talking, and
Didn't hear that.
And it was animated. And afterwards, all they would say was, "It was good talk. It was a good talk." But so I don't know exactly, obviously, what was said there. But the reason it's so significant that Logan is now chirping, the problem with Wilmer, Tyro, and Yaz doing it. Golly, how do I say this without being disrespectful?
Oh, I'm here.
ARB 1, ARB 2, and ARB 3?
They're not good enough.
Yeah.
And they're not here long enough. Whether it's ARB, whether it's player option, or whether it's the fact that, you know what I mean? Like,
But is Kapler good enough?
Logan is.
Okay, I hear you.
In other words, like, Boch may have been totally different. He's not succeeding either without a buster. They need a buster. And now Buster is here, and Buster loves Logan. And so Logan needs to do more of this. I don't know if it needs to be a position player, but this to me is step 1. This boring, drab, nothing comes out of this clubhouse needs this. It needs a squawking star.
So who's the name, Steiny? Do you know, Willard or Dibs? Who should be reading this piece if they've already were in the know? Mr. Johnson, to be like, they gave the vote of confidence. Let me retract that. Do they even have that guy or is it just like whatever?
It's Gabe Kapler. Gabe Kapler should be reading this, and he should be taking a hard look in the mirror and realizing that he has to do things differently next year because you can't let a a clubhouse without a leader lead itself. And when Buster was here, different story. And Brandon Crawford, a good leader, a different leader, quiet guy, injured all year. And we talked about this a bunch. Who else is there in that clubhouse?
But Dibs, I'm saying
asking,
the boss.
Yeah,
Who is Farhan's boss to say, you know what? This is on you and Gabe. I gave you that vote of confidence. Give me that right back.
Oh, it's on him and Gabe, but I don't think that it's so bad that they don't get one more year to try to fix it.
You're asking
from who, Dibs?
You're asking with someone
from who?
Greg Johnson.
Okay.
You're asking
from ownership.
You're asking if someone would change their mind.
Do you think this has caught their eye?
Listen,
That's what I'm
I think
asking.
a lot's caught their eye.
We've thrown this out for 3 weeks, and I keep saying to you guys, like, I think it's 90%
like
that
Jordan
they're back.
Poole. He's going to be here.
I think it's 90%
He's under
that they're
contract.
back, but it's not 100. It's not 100% that they're back.
Man,
I think they're probably back. I do think that I think there's a desire to let Farhan have one shot at fixing this with a different, and maybe that's why is Logan talking to Gabe for 20 minutes? Like, hey, this needs to change. And the first change may be their approach as opposed to their personality.
and we won't find out till baseball
Right.
next year's season, right?
Well, off the top of my head, to probably read more into that walk around the stadium than need be, it's like if Kapler were gone and everybody knew it, you wouldn't spend 20 minutes
Good
talking
point.
to him.
Good point.
And if they're
Correct.
animated, that means Logan Webb is saying, let this stuff go on all year long, and we should have nipped it in the bud. And then maybe he says, we didn't make any moves at the deadline, and we were let down a little bit. Who knows?
Well,
but
especially with a young team. Like, you're letting Bailey come in and Schmidt and Matos and Luciano, and you're letting them think that this is okay, and this is not okay. And that, to me, is where Logan Webb, who, Mark, good point about him, he's the longest tenured Giant on the books. Like, your Confortos and your Hanigers or your Hanforto or Caniger, whichever way we amalgamated them before, they're here and they're gone. Minaya and Stripling and D. Sclafani and all the rest of these guys, they're here and they're gone. But this is Logan Webb's team. Logan is a Giant through 20...
New 5-year deal. 5-year deal.
So
He's the
if
only
you're-
one
yeah.
signed beyond 25.
If you're Logan Webb, you're looking at this thinking, this is my team, guys, and this cannot go on.
And he's a stud, and people don't
He's
like.
all right.
No, he's a stud. He's a stud, and I mean, like you dive into the numbers, it is total insanity that there's not more attention being given to Logan Webb, and B, the fact that the Giants have found a way to lose more than half of his starts.
Okay.
It's absolutely bananas.
No doubt.
He will be a top 5 Cy Young finisher this year in the National League with a losing record.
This is my computer, and you tell me what you think. He said big changes. I don't think, as you guys talked about, the 3 players that we mentioned, there's not a big enough player. So when I hear Logan Webb, even though he went on the walk for 20 and let off some steam, the big changes to me insinuate that it's got to be up top or with our manager.
Well,
because what else
it is
player-wise can equate to big?
Well,
unless you say go get Ohtani or Trout.
But I don't. I think immediately. This is my take. I don't know this, but I don't think big changes. I don't think he was sitting there going, so this person needs to be out and that person needs to be in. I don't think he's talking about personnel. I think he's talking about approach, which is to say, Gabe and Farhan, there needs to be a new aggressiveness with the way you're doing this. You can't sit in the other room and just let Jock play cards all day.
But isn't it over then, though, Willard?
And then the players, he's talking about the players too. What he's trying to do is he's trying to set the table for next year, and there's going to be a lot less nonsense and reggae in the clubhouse when you lose 25 or 30. I think that's what he's doing. That's step one. And by the way, like you get to the All-Star break and it's not working, you'll probably start to see people getting let go. Not even the full year.
Jim Mole, he's one of our favorites. He's paying $5 to have this read on the YouTube chat. Side note, Giants organization also wasting the talents of 4 Hall of Fame broadcasters.
Oh, you could hear the pain in their voice.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, just every day, Diaz. I mean, I know it's their job. But come on, they ain't used to this.
First of all, none of the 4 of them, only one of them is in the Hall of Fame, John Miller. I think that Kruk and Kipe both should be and eventually will be. And Dave Fleming is probably 30 years away.
Right.
but I think he's getting
From
it as
being
well.
30 years away.
So,
Dave might be in about 6
But
different
Dave's so
halls of
good,
fame.
dude.
Yeah, so
he's
Friday
every
night
single
football.
sport.
And
Oh, my
Jim,
God.
we met up at the old ship. Appreciate you buying me a Topo Chico hard seltzer. You're a good guy, but let's slow your roll. They have one Hall of Fame broadcaster in the booth.
Wow.
I told Steiny laughed at me
Facts.
just about this Giants season, which is about to come to an end. I was in Texas at the family reunion. The Giants swept the Dodgers in L.A., and I got on that bird and came back, and that magical, magical. And here we are now, just like.
Give you a 4 for your guru.
I don't. My thing's going. This is bad. Yeah, my wire was going out, but this is bad. I think some heads can still roll, even with the 20-minute talk.
Yeah.
This is bad.
But I doubt it. But yeah, it's possible.
So if heads
Possible.
were to roll, what do you do?
See what Joe Madden is up to. Theo Epstein. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Just a couple of names that come to mind.
I get it. I think.
know. I just thought some
yeah.
I
names
think that
out.
the problems that they have are fixable in 2 ways. One, your roster needs to be better. And 2, you need actual leadership in the clubhouse.
and
If that
somebody
means-
to close a deal on a big boy.
Well,
don't forget
and
that.
Actually, Mark had some great points. He rolled out his Dream 9. Was that last week or the week
I
before?
didn't see
Ago.
that.
It
And
was
I was like,
really good,
nobody
dude. I
here
love
did
it.
I saw Bellinger.
I'll tell you. Here's the
Cody.
Here's the buzz also
Pete Alonso.
beneath the surface. Cody Bellinger's a free agent.
Yep.
Okay, Blake Snell, Shohei, these are free agents, and the Giants have not done well in that market. And I think they'll go into this offseason not only ready to try that again, but they're aware. Like, stop asking players to come on their own because it's not a hitter's park.
Yeah.
You got to trade for them. I think you're
For
going to
hitters,
see.
yeah.
Right now, the organization feels like they have a bit of a surplus of minor league, ready to go pitching. And I think some of them will be traded this offseason for hitters, like major league established hitters. That's how you got to do it. Don't give them a choice. Just tell them,
Warriors, we're out of here.
here's your
Fascinating
Giants
stuff.
hat.
Warriors 6 starters. I hated that. This is 6 starters. What is that?
Kaepernick and Alex Smith are both starting. We got 2. Both starting. We're going to go with Colin and
Hey,
Alex.
what do you got for your birthday the rest of the day?
no
Happy-
plans.
Happy birthday, dude.
No plans.
They mean it too.
What are
I
you
can
doing?
look at their faces.
What are you doing a year from today?
Ooh, that's the big
Whoa,
one.
That's
Willard,
what
I
I
don't
want.
Big
like
one,
that.
baby.
What? Because we got to start
Elizabeth,
working on.
I'm coming to
we gotta
join ya.
start working on that right now.
Yeah, we do.
doing
I
a year
mean,
from now?
it's
About
great to have
7
Rod
friends.
Carew call, but I want let's go Barry Bonds.
Well, I'm still waiting for Bird.
Let's get
I
Steph.
told you he was in Dubai. Willard, now you're
Let's
coming
get
at my
Bird.
booking.
They call
And
Bird
Steph.
why?
Jordan, all of
I
them
don't
at
know how
once.
that happened.
Kareem, LeBron
But he does
James.
look like a bird.
All right, gentlemen.
All right.
Have
We'll
a
be
great one.
listening.